Roll call, please.
Batra,
Present.
Torres, present. Kamai,
Present.
Doan, Jimenez. We're at quorum. Thank you.
So council members Jimenez and Don are not able to attend today. I have been asked to see if there's a motion to have me chair the meeting for today's meeting.
Motion to have Vice Mayor Kamei chair PISFIS.
Second.
Thank you. Do we need a vote on the machine?
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience if you are viewing this today. We are training in a new system, and so I hope you can continue to be patient with us. So thank you very much. Review on the work plan. Okay. Consent calendar. Do we have anything on consent? We don't have anything on consent. Reports to the committee. We have several items as reports to the committee. And just to take things a little bit out of order, we will be taking item number 2, Police Department Operations and Performance Bi-Monthly Status Report first, and then we'll take items 1, 3, and 4, and 5 thereafter. So we will change that first. Do I need a a motion to accept? No, okay, very good. Thank you very much. We will go ahead with that then. So we are on item number 2, Police Department Operations and Performance Bi-Monthly Status Report. And we will have, you can introduce yourselves. Is your mic on?
There we go. Thank you and good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant Paul Hamblin. I am the commander of the Research and Development Unit of the San Jose Police Department. Today, I will be presenting the department's Operations and Performance Bi-Monthly Status Report.
Sorry, we're working through some technical difficulties here. We're trying to get it to advance, so give us just a second. Thank you.
Do you want to do the advancing or you want to tell you? Okay. I'll touch you when I'm ready. Okay, next slide. Okay, today we will be covering citywide crime statistics, and then I will be presenting on other matters of interest, including the gender-based violence response and strategy work plan update, and a brief update on redistricting efforts. Next slide. We will begin with our citywide Part 1 UCR crime stats for the last calendar year. Next slide. As you look at these statistics, you'll notice a 10% increase in aggravated assaults over the 5-year average. As we have reported before, this is consistent with the national increase in violent crimes. Next slide. As you can also see, UCR-defined rapes are up 28.6% when comparing 2022 to the 5-year average. A deeper dive into these numbers will be presented to you at the Gender-Based Violence Response and Strategy Annual Report in March. Next slide. I will be covering a brief overview next in the Gender-Based Violence Response and Strategy Work Plan update. Next slide. As we look at the UCR-defined rape statistics, we recognize the increase across all facets of sexual assaults reported to UCR. Next. We've seen a 38% increase overall when comparing sexual assaults in 2022 to the 4-year average. Next. I would like to draw your attention to these red boxes. These show us a marked increase in domestic-related sexual assaults. This increase can be attributed to our intersectionality tool, where we now ask every single survivor of domestic violence if they are also a survivor of sexual assault. This has given us the opportunity to find numerous survivors that we would otherwise have not reported their sexual assault. Next slide. When we look deeper into when the sexual assaults are being reported, we see that nearly a quarter of them are over 6 months old. This is what we refer to as historic reporting. In these cases, the survivor is letting us know about something that happened to them in the past. And this is another positive benefit of the intersectionality tool. Next. Another significant aspect of our reporting is when we take a report for another agency. We call this transferred to other agency. In 2022, we see a 107% increase in transfers comparing 2022 to the average of the 4 years prior. In summary, our increase in sexual assault statistics in 2022 can be attributed to two significant factors. First, the success of the intersectionality tool, and second, taking reports of sexual assault for other agencies and transferring those cases to them for investigation. Next. The charts I'm going to show you now are the current status of both the city and county-wide work items since the inception of the Gender-Based Violence Response and Strategy Work Plan. There are significant updates to the city chart this month, which I will go over now. Next. This table shows the San Jose specific work items. I would like to highlight 4 changes, and you will note them with a red check to the right of each one. Starting with trauma-informed care. This is completed with ongoing training in the academy as well. Next is report to PISFIS with data on the intersection between firearms and intimate partner violence. This was presented with the city auditor's report on firearm regulation in December of 2022. Next is the Sexual Assault Bill of Rights. This is completed. The cards are distributed in patrol. And then finally, substandard housing study. This is in process in collaboration with Santa Clara County Supervisor Arenas' office. Next. This chart shows this table shows the county-wide work items, and there are no updates to this table. Next. This graphic shows the status on the Sexual Assault Bill of Rights. Please notice that we have completed the printing of the resource cards in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Mandarin. They are deployed in the field and being used as we speak. That completes the report on Sexual Assault's Bill of Rights. You will not see this on my next presentation. Next. And now for an update on redistricting. Next. We are currently in phase 2 of redistricting. We are expecting to finalize the contract with the vendor very soon. We have selected the department stakeholders in our work groups, and we are planning to begin data collection early this spring. And now we are here for any questions that you may have. Next.
Okay. Are there any questions? I don't see.
Blair Beekman?
Hi, Blair Beekman here. I don't know if I heard correctly or not at the beginning of this item. Was it spoken that assaults, I guess that would be aggravated assaults, are those statistics up? Did I hear that correctly? I'll review the meeting and see if it is the case. I hope someone can speak to that in some way. I know the VTA is trying hard to work on aggravated assault issues with their bus drivers and such. They've had some success, and they want to do it in a study session process that can help address if it is a concern for yourselves. In overall police statistic, police use issues, I hope that you'll be much considering RIPS ideas that are happening right now. They're trying to make presentations and to have dialogue. Good luck in that sort of dialogue that can have law enforcement can have with RIPS, and the community can have with RIPS ideas. They do some interesting good work. And I also wanted to mention I may have to leave early today, so with recruitment matters, just be cautious. I guess I don't think we have to be drumming and drumming for bigger numbers. I think we do something very well as the city we are, and so good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there questions of the members of the committee? Councilmember Torres?
Hello? Okay. We're operating with a new system and it's pretty interesting. So thank you, lieutenants, for that presentation. I know, so reading the presentation and hearing about the presentation, it is particularly concerning that obviously that reported rapes have increased in our city of San Jose. And I just want to assure our residents that yes, it's very important that we deal with it, and it's very important that we learn about this. But I think you said it in your presentation, but just to reiterate to folks, it jumped because one, folks are reporting it more. Is that right?
More that we are asking those questions when our officers are taking a report of domestic violence, instead of just waiting for the survivor to disclose that they were the victim or the survivor of a sexual assault. We are asking them that question. And prior to 2022, we have never done that. So it's not so much that the reporting is different. It's not so much even I don't think that the number of occurrences is all that different. It's just that there more are being reported because we are actually seeking those reports.
Because our officers, thank you, by the way, with that answer. I saw one of our priorities is actually training our officers when it comes to gender and intimate partner violence. So it's also because they are being trained to identify gender-based and intimate partner violence, right?
Thank you for your question, Council Member. Yes, I think the training has been going on for some time, but I think the main thing that we've trained them is to actually ask that question rather than just wait for the survivor to disclose it.
Okay, great. And I do know, you didn't touch about it here, but having worked at the city of San Jose and staffing my former boss on this committee, we were working with our county to process rape kits a little bit faster than usual, right? Because that's also what was preventing folks from reporting their assault. Is that correct?
Councilmember, I'm Steve Donahue, former commander of research and development. So,
hello.
Yeah, so I've been working on this for several years in the past. So I want to address two things. First off, yes, about rape kits, we are working with our county partners to expedite the processing and process all the rape kits that are brought to us, right? So it's not just if we don't have a participatory survivor, then it stays on a shelf. That's not the case anymore. We still process that kit. So that's something that new that we've done with the county partners to implement that. The second thing.
Wait, sorry,
sure.
Because I don't want to get confused. Can you go back a little bit when you say so somebody who is in a situation that then backs away because they fear for their life, obviously, and it's unfortunately a common occurrence in their relationship. They might say, forget it, I don't want to go forward with it, but our police department continues to make sure that rape kit is processed.
So we have the Violence Against Women Act, that has allowed law enforcement agencies the ability to receive evidence from survivors without requiring their participation in the investigation of that case. So we can have what we call a Jane Doe SART, or Jane Doe safe. And that's when the survivor will have the evidence collected, but they don't want to participate. They just want to give it to the police department. We even process those kits. So we get them, we process them, because imagine this, that there's a subject out there that has done this several times and no victim has participated, right? Until we finally have one that's willing to do that. Now we can tie all those cases. Right?
Okay.
So it's key to allow the survivor the ability to decide whether or not they want to be part of the investigation and empower them to do that, but still collecting the evidence and still using that for the prosecution of a subject that sexually assaults others.
Okay. Great.
I just wanted to add as we worked through with the county last year, the state changed their reimbursement. And so offering the rape kits was only going to be reimbursed based off of a certain criteria. And obviously the county and us wanted to make sure it was offered to every single person. So as part of last year's budget, the police department and Jennifer ultimately put additional money into the budget that the council approved. So we're able to continue on offering to anyone who requests.
Oh, so that's a new, that's a new one for me. We actually have to pay for the rape kits.
Yes.
Wow.
Every kit costs, and it depends on the tests that are done in the kit that measures the cost out. And it could be, $1,500, $2,000 for a rape kit, depending on what tests are done.
So how much was the budget item last year? If you don't mind asking.
Off the top of my head.
I actually think the delta that we had based off of the criteria from the state was less than $100,000 that we added to the budget.
Okay. And I know because I definitely don't I definitely don't want to drown that sexual assaults happen to women and to trans women. I'm LGBTQ, and I would like to see, and I think we've actually asked this before, and I hope that we are able to do this in the future, but I want to see maybe a statistic on reports by LGBT, if folks who are in LGBTQ relationship, because whether you're straight or LGBTQ plus, we still get into toxic relationships. And so I would like to see maybe some stats on when it comes to intimate partner violence in our LGBTQ community, because that is also, again, we know that gender-based violence and intimate partner violence happens to all walks of life, all incomes, all races, all genders, all nationalities, all sexual orientations. And so I would like to see some stats on potential sexual assaults happening or domestic violence or intimate partner violence or gender-based violence amongst our LGBTQ community.
Councilmember, I totally understand. And I think one of the difficulties we have is during the course of the investigation, when we have a survivor telling us about their sexual assault, we don't follow up with questions, for example, like, well, what is your gender? What is your gender identity? We don't have that data right now. And we'd be happy to talk about it and further explore this moving down the line, but I can't bring you data back in the next 6 months to a year because we don't collect it.
Okay.
I think that there's something to be said for working with our partners on this, our community-based partners, and whether or not that they would like to help us collect that data, or even feel that that's data that's appropriate to ask the survivor of sexual assault during the investigation.
Great. No, thank you. I totally understand, because I know also that there's still, especially in the LGBTQ community, especially folks of color, and the stigma of being LGBTQ is there, and their families might not know, their work might not know, their friends might not know, and so I get it, but it's a very common occurrence in the LGBTQ community, and And unlike our amazing women leaders and our women groups and our trans women's group who actually are at the forefront of gender-based violence, we in the LGBTQ community keep it on the down low. I guess that's should be the pun intended, but keep it on the the down low, or don't speak about it enough.
We have excellent relationships with YWCA next door, our community-based organizations, excellent relationship with the Billy DeFrank Center, and we could probably bring them into the conversation. They may keep these stats. They may have that information. I don't know. I just know we don't have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move to Councilmember Batra.
Officer, for the 2022 increase, you've attributed mostly to improvement in your method of capturing the data, or probably an item which occurred but never got captured in the past, okay? So is that done for the almost all years, so that if we see any change in 2023, that would be for other reasons than an improvement in method?
Yes, we believe that the numbers in 2023 will correspond with those in 2022. We will continue to see the same patterns because we began the practice of intersectionality in 2022. Okay. Thank you for your question, Councilmember.
Okay, so now, based on this increase, are there any changes being made other than in data capturing, which is a great thing because you have to capture the data before you can take any actions. So it is great that you made that improvement. But as a result of having captured additional data, did you also identify something else you need to do to actually bring the rate down?
Those are things that now that we have this data, now that we have seen this historical data, these are decisions that we're making. We're working with our SAIU, our Sexual Assault Investigative Unit, and we are trying to come up with solutions. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Did you have anything else? No. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate the information. I know that just looking at the numbers, it looks alarming and it looks like there's a huge increase, but I do understand that yes, in fact, we're trying to capture more accurately. And, as we move forward, the data then has greater consistency across trying to really capture that accuracy that had not been before. So thank you. Yes.
I'm actually really glad you mentioned that about the accuracy in collecting the numbers, because prior to your tenure on the council, we sent an informational memo last year about the switch over to the National Incident-Based Reporting System. We call it NIBRS. And what that's going to do is completely change the way we're capturing data. And I'll give you an example. Let's say hypothetically that we have a survivor report a domestic violence and a sexual assault in the same event. Well, right now, what would happen is that would turn into a sexual assault, and we would log it as a sexual assault. We go up as one sexual assault stat, we report it to the Department of Justice, and that's the only thing they know about that event. Now, when we switch to NIBRS, which is going to be this spring, that's going to change, and we'll report both events, both the domestic violence and the sexual assault. And by doing that, we're going to get far more accurate statistics. Now, this is important because, especially for the cases that we currently report to the Department of Justice, you're going to see huge jumps in our numbers when you compare them this year to last year, because now we're collecting far more accurate information. So we warned the council about that in the info memo from last year. I just want to bring that to your attention, that as Lieutenant Hamlin reports back later on this year and he starts reporting these NIBRS numbers, you're going to see huge jumps. That's going to be why it's going to be attributed to this new, far more accurate data reporting system that we joined.
Yeah, since so many of us are new on the council, I think that's something that if you have anything to send to us, that would be extremely helpful, because what happens is that Without that information, we may or may not have it. And so it would be something that we could also share with the community, because as the community sees these numbers, then they begin to understand what we're trying to achieve is much more accurate, as well as, something that we will track better in the future. So that would be terrific if you can share it with all of us, since we have so many new members.
No problem. We'll email you a copy of the info memo.
Thank you. Yeah.
Ask one question.
Councilmember Torres had
I was actually just moving to
approved.
approve, the report.
Okay, I'll second that. Go ahead.
Yeah. The new system which is likely to have increase in numbers, and it will be alarming. Would you have the ability to capture that this would have been a last year, or under the old system, this would be one case rather than the 2 or 3, whatever it's going to become, so that we will have an ability to see that, hey, the impact of the change in the system is what is really causing the alarming numbers to be there. Okay, so if that would be available for reporting, I think it would make a lot of, probably calm some fears.
I totally understand it. I try to live my life never saying no to a council member. But unfortunately, in this case, we are going to have to say no. Once we make that switch is done. And so we won't have the ability to do comparable stats the same way. And the reason being is that idea that we can capture more than one type of crime in an event. So we just won't have the ability to say, well, last year this would have been this stat, this year it's this stat. Once we switch, it's all going to be that stat moving forward.
Yeah, but the system does not allow that because it's not only, this is not only being done in San Jose. I guess this is a requirement from the Department of Justice. So it's going to affect everybody's stats, not just ours.
Right, and not all agencies in the United States have gone at the same time. This has been in process. I want to say it's either 3 or 5 years that agencies throughout the state have been, or throughout the country have rolled to this. If we tried to do the old way and the new way, we'd have to double do our stats every time, and that we don't have the staffing or personnel to do that. Like, we'd need 2 crime analysis units and 2, sets of analysts to do all of that, because we use one right now to do DOJ, and they're going to all start doing NIBRs. So we won't be able to do both, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
Sorry. I want to say yes.
No, its question is going to be is, I think the public will be alarmed with this thing and the changes. So not much you can do, but I think we'll have to find a way to tell the community that the problem didn't become any bigger than what was. Okay.
I think that your last words were, sharing with the community. And I think that it's incumbent on each of us to inform the community prior to seeing the numbers, to let them know that we're really trying to achieve better information and greater accuracy. So I think that once we get this information, that we'll be able to share that.
And with that, and sorry, Vice Mayor, with that, the victims are able to get the services they truly need.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So there's a motion
To
by
accept report.
accept the report by Councilmember Torres. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Batra. We can vote now. Great, and it's unanimous. Thank you very much. We will now move on to item number 1, second quarter financial reports for fiscal year 2022-23.
Good afternoon,
Good
members of the
afternoon.
committee. I'm Julia Cooper. I'm the city's Director of Finance, and with me today I have
Luz Carfesi-Howe, who is the Assistant Director of Finance, and she is also making part of the presentation today because she's also covering a role as Deputy Director of Purchasing and Risk Management because that position's vacant, but we hope to make an announcement soon with the filling of that position. Then I have Chin-Yu Sun, who's our Deputy Director of Debt and Treasury Management, and John Kashmanian, Deputy Director of Revenue Management. So just as a little bit of background, since as you noted, Vice Mayor, you're all new to the process. This is a second quarter financial report that we bring to the committee. We bring it 4 times a year. According to the city's investment policy, we're required to at least verbally present the investment part of the presentation verbally to the committee. But we, in conversations with the assistant city manager, we decided to do the whole presentation for you today because we think it provides you a lot of background with respect to the information and the work that goes on in the finance department, and to give you a little bit more information as you become more familiar in your roles as council members. So we will go through the whole presentation, and then we have 2 more items on the agenda that kind of build on this work as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Chin-Yu. Do you go first? And start with Chin-Yu.
Thank you, Julia. My name is Chen-Yu Sun. I'm the Deputy Director of Finance for Managing Debt and Treasury. So first portion of the presentation, we're going to talk about the city's large portfolio in debt. So all the stats are as of December 31st, 2022. As of that date, the outstanding debt for the city was $5.2 billion. We have a new issuance year to date, that's fiscal year to date, about $607 million. The city of debt portfolio is made of a variety of debt issued for instance, GO. We also have some short-term paper like trends, a regional wastewater facility of short-term notes. We also just recently issued a wastewater revenue bonds. And then the city also has a financing authority, which has issued over $745 million in debt. And the airport, both airport and the success agency have big portion of the debt portfolio. Each debt outstanding is over $1 billion. As I mentioned earlier, we have issued over $600 million fiscal year to date. Of that number, $335 million was issued during the quarter from October to December 2022. Of that number, $261 million was a newly issued wastewater revenue bonds. And additionally, we issued about $63.1 million in short-term note for the regional wastewater facility, which will be refunded with the revenue bonds in March 2000, actually next month. In addition to debt issuance and debt payment, we also do a myriad of debt management activities within my team. During that quarter, we issued a $255 million revolving credit facility request for proposal. We received a proposal from JP Morgan. I'm happy to report this agreement is going to close tomorrow. We're ready for this huge revolving credit facility to successfully close. And additionally, we also perform a bunch of reporting duties for the city. Last quarter, we completed a comprehensive annual debt report for the fiscal year 21-22, and also there's a huge reporting need to be done for the continuing disclosure and compliance report that is filed in EMA, which is hosted by the Municipal Security Rules Making Board. And all the information has been filed. We do this every year, annually, as soon as the city closes the financial reporting for the fiscal year. For the upcoming debt issuance and management activity for the upcoming quarter, as we mentioned a moment ago, we are going to refund the regional wastewater short-term note of 300 million. That funding source will coming from the recently issued wastewater revenue bonds. We are back in July 2022, we issued about 275 million in trend to pre-fund the city's contribution to retirement plans. Half of that is coming due at the end of February. On February 28th, we're going to redeem that. All the liquidity of cash flow has been set up to redeem that portion of the debt. We also have completed annual debt transparency report to City Act. That's an agency with the state of California. The report, all the reports were due as of January 31st, 2023, and staff have all completed and successfully filed that report. Next, I want to talk about, give you some color of the market. So this is a chart of a highly rated geo bond rate over the last 10 years. And what I want to emphasize, you might want to look at the tail end, meaning to the far right of the chart. Since December 2021, we have seen the municipal bond rate on a sharp rise, which is not surprising to everybody because interest rates have been rising quickly, especially with all the anticipation of inflation and the Fed rate increases. In light of that, we were able to issue, and one thing I want to mention is that we issued wastewater revenue bonds in the beginning of December, which is actually, we took advantage of a slight dip. As you can see, the tail end and the rate is coming down. We issued the bonds at a relatively good time. And then the municipal debt rate is slightly on a dip. So currently, actually the reporting data, we use the data as of January 12th, and the highly rated AAA plus municipal geo bonds had a rate at that time of 3.35%. And for the last 10-year average, the rate was at just a little bit higher than 3%. So whatever the rate we're seeing is still above the 10-year average. Hopefully we'll continue to see trending down of the rate. On the short-term end, we have seen continued rising of the short-term rate. Our benchmark of the short rate has been LIBOR and then SOFR, and then LIBOR is going out by June 2023. So by that time, you will only see the reference of a SOFR rate, which has been our benchmark for the short-term paper. Our CP rate, that's been commercial paper, and the short-term notes, usually the interest rate on those paper are benchmarked on those short-term market rate. With the Fed's interest rate continue to increase, and we expect the short-term rate to be continue climbing gradually. This is a look of the city's rating. The city of San Jose has pretty high credit rating. Our rating is rated at AA plus and or AAA by the three well-known rating agencies, meaning Moody's, S&P, and Fitch. Our rating in comparison with the state of California is slightly better. As you can see, state of California are rated mostly in the AA category and even have a rating with S&P as AA minus. We consider our rate on par with the Santa Clara. We hold both the AAA and AA ratings. That's for different kind of specific debt category. We also code specific rating for that debt. The city's issuer rating, as we had talked about earlier, is in the AA plus category, and our geobond rating is at a AA plus and then AAA. And then these revenue bonds, based on what the specific property or assets are as underlying, they can be rated all at a AA or straight AA. Some of them have a AA minus. Continue on, we're having The airport bonds are rated as single A category. Sarah bonds are mostly, it depends on the senior or junior subordinate. Subordinate bonds is about one notch below the senior bonds, as you can tell. Wastewater revenue bonds is what we had recently issued in the beginning of December. It's rated as triple A straight through the three rating agencies. We didn't solicit the Moody's rating. We got the rating from S&P, Fitch, and then Crow bond rating agencies. All three agencies rated that bond in the triple A. That's the highest rating you can get for any debt. So that's for the debt portion. Next, we'll go to the investment portion. The city's per the city's investment policy, all investment must meet the requirements as stated in the policy and conform with the California Government Code Section 53601. Our authorized investment are mostly highly rated fixed income securities. The policy needs to be reviewed annually, and then it was last adopted by resolution of the City Council on March 15th, 2022. We are going to propose policy changes today, and then hopefully we can move to the City Council for approval on March 21st, 2023. The investment program as required in the policy is to be audited semi-annually for compliance purposes. Our investment objectives, as we said many times, is always a safety first, liquidity yield comes later. Our quarterly reports are available to the public online in the Pacific Committee agenda packet, and also in the City Council agenda packet for acceptance on March 21st. So we have a socially responsible investment goals in our policy that goal are articulated in section 22 of the policy. Our investments is to support community well-being through safe and environmentally sound practices and for fair labor and also support fair labor practices. We support equality of rights, serve all members of the local community, and promote community economic development. That's just what we need to do with our investments for social responsibility. Here is a look at our portfolio performance as of December 30th, 2022. As of that date, our portfolio size is about slightly higher, $2.5 billion. Our earned interest yield is about 2.23%, which is about 61 basis points from higher from previous quarter. The weighted average maturity for the portfolio as of that date is 606 days. And as a fiscal year to date, that's for the first 6 months, we have earned the city $24.5 million. There was no exception to the city's investment policy during this quarter. The city's investments are made of a variety of asset classes. Majority of the investments are in the government sectors, meaning treasuries, agencies. Those two sectors totals about 53% of the portfolio. And additionally, we also invest in supranationals, which are AAA rated international organization, for meaning we only invest in 3 organizations. And then all these are highly rated. In that category, we have about 7.5% of the portfolio invested. Additionally, we also invest in a number of credit sectors, meaning CDs, that's a security of deposit, CP, commercial paper, corporate notes, and then municipal bonds. And those credit sectors as just about 30% of the portfolio. We have a small percent of the portfolio invested in asset-backed securities, about 6.1%. That includes both mortgage-backed and then just a pure asset-backed securities. Of course, the city's investment pool is made of funds from a variety of funds. As you can see in this pie chart, the general fund portion is the largest part of the pie, at a 708 million. The general fund is made about just about 28% of the investment portfolio. So the general fund balance increased by almost 53 million during the quarter with the receipt of a property tax advances. General fund typically has a pattern for the city. It peaks during the months of January and June when the city received the majority of our property tax, and then kind of peters off through the rest of the year with all the operational expenses and then other obligations city may have. As required, we have sufficient investment maturities, cash, and revenue receipts to cover anticipated expenditure for the next 6 months. And then here's a chart, as I talked about earlier, showing you the pattern of the balance changes of a few funds. And the red line in the chart is the general fund, as you can see, has two obvious peaks in June and then January. Benchmark comparisons. So we compared the city's investment pool to LAIF. LAIF is a local agency investment fund managed by the state of California. And we also using a benchmark created by the Bank of America Merrill Lynch. And we use the 1, 2, 3 year single A or better, the U.S. Corporate Government Index, to compare with the portfolio. Although they're not perfect comparisons, as they are not exactly apple to apple, but they give you a glimpse of how our portfolio has been doing. The blue line is our portfolio. As you can tell, even though we have a little bit of higher weighted average maturity, our yield has been above both LAIF and then Bank of America Index throughout the last 2 years. Our investment strategy has always been very conservative. We're doing expenditure matching for the first 24 months horizon. We always try to expand a portion of the portfolio beyond 2-year term, especially when the yield curve is normal, just to pick up additional yield. And then we are trying to maintain the diversification of the portfolio. We all know, the more diversification we have, the more safe the portfolio is at. And then, of course, our objective is safety, liquidity, and yield in that order. Next, I'll give it back to Joe.
Fine. Thank you. Good afternoon, committee members. My name is John Kachmarnian, Deputy Director of Revenue Management in the Finance Department. Today we'll be covering second quarter results for fiscal year 2022-23 for our team. A little bit about our group. The revenue management team tracks and collects current and delinquent receivables across the accounts receivable, business tax, compliance and monitoring, and utility billing programs. For fiscal year 2021 to 2022, citywide revenue was $4.624 billion, comprised of revenue within and outside of the revenue management function. Within revenue management, a total of $1.372 billion was collected. About half of our revenue comes from taxes, with sales tax being the largest component of that by far. Around a third of our revenue comes from utility billing, which includes water, garbage, storm, and sewer services, and the remainder comes from accounts receivable billing and fee collection. At $3.25 billion, the largest non-revenue management contributors of citywide revenue include the capital fund, the airport fund, property tax, the San Jose Clean Energy Fund, and the San Jose Santa Clara Treatment Plant Operating Fund. Revenue Management's total business tax, accounts receivable, and utility billing over the most recent 5-year reporting period fall within the range of $500 to $700 million per fiscal year. Our collections rate is in the high 90th percentile over the same period. After a large drop in FY 2021, billings in FY 21-22 approach pre-COVID levels. The second quarter FY 22-23 receivables outstanding increased around 29% year over year from about 74 million to 95 million. Most of this increase, around 85%, is related to current or non-delinquent receivables, which are highly collectible. Outstanding delinquent receivables are expected to decrease substantially as we process pending write-offs and redouble our collections efforts. This graph shows delinquent receivables by collection type. Most accounts are assigned to city staff, and those are labeled as active, followed by collection agency assignment, pending write-offs, legal action, liens, and payment plans. We track return on investment for each of our business tax and accounts receivable teammates involved with delinquent account collections. We set a target of 5 to 1 such that delinquent collections would be 5 times the salary and benefit costs of our revenue collectors. In Q2, we achieved an overall ROI of 5.27 for our business tax and accounts receivable groups, resulting in approximately $1.63 million in collections on delinquent receivables. We have a collection and write-off process that our team abides by, which begins with mailing delinquent notifications, and if payments are not received after the final late notice, delinquent accounts are evaluated for submission to our collections agency, and a periodic analysis was performed to assess which accounts have reached an uncollectible state, and for those that have, write-offs are initiated, which removes them from our ledger. Okay, so you can see over time, we have a 5-year history here, and in FY 21-22, the number of payments is starting to climb back up, as I mentioned earlier, from pre-COVID levels compared to FY 20-21, but it's still quite a bit lower than we saw before COVID in 19-20. So we're hoping to get back there in the near future as our collections efforts ramp up. Q2 FY 22-23 receivables increased about 29% year over year, as I mentioned previously. And they went from around 74 million to around 95 million. And I think that's going to end the presentation for my group. So now we have the purchasing and risk management report.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Kamai, Council members Doan and Batra, and the rest of the panel and the public. My name is Luz Gafresi Howe. I'm the Assistant Director of Finance for the city. Today I'm before you as the Acting Deputy Director for the Purchasing and Risk Management Group and the Acting Purchasing Officer, Chief Purchasing Officer for the city. I will be very glad to give up those titles very soon. So I must admit this will be my first and last presentation, hopefully, because I turn it over to someone who we very quickly expect to be accepting a great offer from us today. So starting with that, we'll go right into the purchasing program. So purchasing program, and we'll have a little bit more detail on this when we go into another item that's on the agenda. But the purchasing program for finance, we're responsible for the centralized procurement for the city. So that's equipment, supplies, materials, information technology, and non-technical, non-consulting services. And that's actually pursuant to San Jose Municipal Code. So this is a report that gives you information on our accomplishments to date. This is a fiscal year report, not just for the quarter, but year to date. And so we actually are tracking, and we haven't got the last year's up there, but we will next time. We actually are tracking fairly well. We are admittedly behind our request for proposals. That's essentially a timing factor that, sometimes we actually count those when those requests for proposals actually go to contract. So thank you very much for approving the contract on Tuesday, because that gives us one more this quarter. So we are really doing very well as far as purchase orders and purchase orders adjustments issued. Also, new agreements negotiated and executed. Lots of council memoranda. You will see many, many items before you on council memoranda regarding procurements and purchasing done by the finance purchasing team. And then to date, we have purchase order and contract dollars a total of $244 million. Procurement improvement update, you will see a much larger item later on. The procurement improvement is a strategic support initiative under the city roadmap. We are presenting under item 4 today, some proposed amendments to Title 4 of the Municipal Code. And then we are continuing to consider some review and consideration of other recommendations that came from that year-long procurement study. Well, actually, it was a couple of years, but I'll go into much more detail on item 4. We also have information on a disparity study. I turn your attention to attachment C, which gives you a great amount of detail on exactly where we are with the disparity study. We're roughly about halfway through. We actually kicked off that effort in May 2022. It's going, frankly, very well. And it's essentially is underway to evaluate any need for new procurement policies to facilitate participation of diverse business enterprises in city contracting. Notice we don't call them disadvantaged anymore. They are now diverse business enterprises, and that's really important because that's what they are. Okay, so we've done this in collaborative study, the citywide study in collaboration with the City Manager's Office of Communications, Racial Equity, Economic Development, and Cultural Affairs, and we're all working with a very talented consultant called MGT. They've done, I think, over 80 of these engagements across the country. And the completed activities this quarter, our multilingual website went live. We actually have it in 4 languages. It's English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese. So we have completely translated that. All our collateral materials are also multilingual. And then we have some upcoming activities. We're going to have another set of, oh, I'm sorry, forgive me, I forgot. We had our first business engagement meeting in November 14th, 2022. We had 49 businesses sign up. It was a 10% return on about a 5,600 mail out. And so actually pretty good. That's a pretty good turnout. We had 36 of those folks show up. Once again, if you look at the report inside an attachment C, you'll see the actual count. During those meetings, we had the former Vice Mayor, Chappie Jones, did a kickoff, and it was really great. We had a lot of participation from a lot of interested folks. The other thing that we're really proud of, we also had an ability not just for folks to meet in a forum-like environment, but also to meet one-on-one. So we had multilingual translation going on during the forum piece of it. Plus, we also had the businesses had an opportunity to meet individually with our consultants. What's also important to know about that is that city folks were not in those meetings because we wanted them to feel confident that their discussions with our consultants were held confidentially and they could speak freely. And so upcoming activities for the next quarter, we're going to have another set of meetings. After we had the meetings at the beginning, the other thing I need to say is that the County of Santa Clara also is having a disparity study at the same time. They were actually 4 months ahead of us back in May 2022. We actually have caught up with them. And so, yeah, we're good. So, but we we learned a lot because of their experience and our experience. And so now what we're doing in these next set of meetings that we're having in March is that we're segregating folks by industry. So, and if you look at the last page of the attachment C, it tells you how we're splitting them out. They're March 16th and 17th. I'm sorry, let me pull these out. They're March 14th and the 21st. I actually think we may have changed that to March 16th, but we're starting with construction primes, construction subcontractors, A&E, architecture and engineering professional services, and goods and other services. So we're thinking that we'll have a better response and a more cohesive response if we put people into focus groups. Now I'm going to report on the other side of the purchasing and risk division. This is responsible for the procurement and oversight of the city's property and casualty insurance programs. And we also have contractual risk management activities, subrogation claims when we ask other people to pay for injury to the city assets, and other key services to the city departments. The transactions completed, once again, as you saw on the purchasing side, we're providing these transactions on both a quarterly and a fiscal year to date. Request for contract insurance specifications. This is when our city departments ask us to review our contracts and make sure that the insurances that we're asking vendors to provide protect the city adequately. And so we have, and then there's letters of self-insurance. We collect that information as well. Subrogation dollars billed to responsible third parties. These are, once again, injuries to our assets that we are asking others to pay for. And then council and committee memorandums issued. There's always generally about 3 to 6 a year. Most of those are tied to permission to spend money or permission to enter into contract to buy insurance. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Julia to close this out.
Yes, thank you very much. So, so the recommendation is to accept the report and then also to refer to City Council the write-off of approximately $600,000 of bad debt that exceeds the level that the director is allowed to write off, and that's to keep our books clean. And there was an attachment to the report that listed out all of those items. We still can go after those folks, but we just need to make sure our financial records stay in order. So we periodically come to council to ask for those write-offs. So with that, we're open to any questions you may have. I know it was a lot of information. You probably feel like a big fire hose.
No, but it was good. You know, especially, like I said, since we're new to this, at least some of us are new to this, it's a good sort of like foundational work. So I certainly appreciate it. At this time, do we have any public comment?
Blair Beekman?
Hi, Blair Beekman here. Thanks a lot for this item. It was really fairly comprehensive and a lot of depth to it. Thank you. Just so we could be really clear here at the beginning of a new administration what to expect. And not just that, you know, there's still some outlying concerns about, you know, we may be headed for a very serious recession by the end of this year. I don't know how certain that is, but this presentation, I think, is part of the process to help define that. And I just wanted to remind yourselves, or how do we address that? Help define how do we address that sort of issue. And I wanted to remind yourselves that, you know, before the era of COVID, here at San Jose City Council, at public meetings all the time, you know, there would be talk of different recessionary periods and up and downs in, you know, 2017, 18, and 19. And every single time that would happen, our city council, our community, public comment time, we would all gather together and just say, man, we shouldn't have to put ourselves through this. We don't have to go through a recession in order to survive. We can make positive, good choices and work towards something more positive for ourselves. And I hope this can be a time in 23 that we have really good plans set up for 24 and 25 with community and government projects and issues. I think if we set a really good course in this year, you know, and do really positive, good things and want things to do well to help come out of this era of COVID, I think we can stave off recession things and really start to develop the 24 and 25 the way we really want to. And so I just wanted to offer those sort of reminders. And thanks a lot for the thoroughness of this item.
Back to the committee. Thank you. Are there any questions from council? I don't see.
And we're always available for offline conversations or presentations in more detail, so feel free to call anytime.
Yeah. Councilmember Batra?
Thank you for that comprehensive report. Does your debt include the special measures debts or the bonds?
Yeah, the general obligation bonds are included in that pie chart.
Like the Measure T
Yes,
bonds would be
yes,
in there?
yes.
Okay.
So
Okay. And on your write-off of 600,000, what would be the bulk of the type of write-off? Who are the non-payers to us?
I mean, as I look through the list, it looks like a fair number of it is property subrogation, where somebody maybe had a lien on their property for not fixing a sidewalk or something like that, and then they've moved on, and we haven't been able to collect from them. Bad people write insufficient fund checks for like a business or something like that, and then we can't collect on it. So things like that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Torres?
Yes, thank you so much for that very long, but yet very necessary report. I truly learned a lot. Okay, so because it was a long presentation, and I'm gonna reach out to have more discussions offline, because there was a lot of good stuff and a lot of concerning stuff that I saw here, but for the sake of time, what I do want to just pinpoint is, and I know I just want to ask the question. We are not our investment portfolio. We're staying away from like tobacco, right? Dirty energy.
Yes, that is part of the socially responsibility section. So there's no fossil fuels, there's no tobacco, those types of things are not.
Okay, good. So good to hear that. And the other one is Councilman Batra actually asked that question regarding our folks who don't pay their bills. So other than that, I don't know if you have any, but I would move approval. It's just so much information in this presentation that I could just ask the questions offline.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Before we vote on that, I did have just a clarification on slide number 33. When you talked about, I just want to make sure I'm understanding what it's saying. So as I look at it, the light blue shows the current receivables. So it seems to be in the upswing that the receivables are higher than usual. Is that correct?
That's correct. It has been on the upswing, and most of that increase though is related to our current receivables, so those that are not yet past due. So around 85% is related to that.
I see.
So we expect those to be collected, and we expect that to normalize as a result of that. And we also are firing up on more cylinders now that COVID is eased, to collect on outstanding delinquent debts. We're working more closely with our collections agency, which we've kind of held off on a little bit to give people a chance to catch their breath. And we're doing a couple other things to move the ball forward and collect on these debts. We also have various programs where we're trying to offer assistance to our customers with payment plans. We have an accounts receivable amnesty program, which is forgiving interest and delinquent fee amounts if customers pay their invoices for certain types of invoices over a certain period of time, as part of kind of the COVID relief measure. So those are some things that we have in our hopper that we expect this to sort of cause this to normalize a little bit more over time.
Okay, great. Well, with that, let's vote.
I'd like to confirm first that the motion includes the cross-reference and forwarding of recommendations to the March 21st City Council meeting.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, that would be item 1, 2, and 3. We'll forward the recommendation to the City Council.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and that passes unanimously. Thank you so much. We will now move on to item number 3.
Yes, item number 3 in the packet is the annual review of the city's investment policy. And as Jinyu mentioned in her last presentation, the major tenets of our investment policy are safety. Safety is number 1. A return on principal. We don't want to invest in anything that puts at risk the ability to get back the principal that we initially invested. Then liquidity, making sure we have funds available when we need them to pay our bills. And then finally, we look at yield. So the investment policy spells out a number of items that we can invest in. And so Chinyu's going to go through that relatively quickly. And then we do have a couple of very minor change to the policy that we're recommending. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chinyu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. So this slides we already talked about, and Julia just mentioned that, so I'm just going to pass it. Let's go directly to the type of investments we are allowed to buy. As we say, I mentioned earlier, we only allowed to buy highly rated fixed income securities, meaning they're not stocks, they're not private equities, so they are fixed income, they're paying fixed interest payment at a set time. And those investments including U.S. Treasuries, local agency investment funds, investment agreements, supranationals, bankers acceptance, time deposits, commercial paper, negotiable CD, repurchase agreement, corporate notes, JPAs, money market funds, muni bonds, mortgage-backed securities, asset-backed securities. Each one has its own policy limits. We do not hold all these investments in our portfolio at time. Not all of them are actively always available on the market. So we, in my team in the investment, we actively rotate in the sector, whichever sector presents an investment opportunity in us, for us, we'll actively invest in that. So this is about the policy review schedule. I mentioned part of that earlier, so I'm just going through quickly. The policy required the finance department to perform annual review and then submit proposed changes to the Pacific Committee for review, and subsequently we are requested to seek a council approval. We provide a red line version of the policy and in the agenda, and then you probably have already seen that. So as Julia mentioned, we are proposing very minor change to the policy. We are asking to reduce the single issuer institution exposure in the portfolio from 10% to 5%. Typically in operation, and a corporation can issue variety of securities. For a company like Apple, they can be issuing commercial paper, they can issue corporate bonds, and they can issue some other short-term notes. We are allowed to invest in all those we call the asset classes, but we want to limit whichever asset classes we invest. For a single issuer such as Apple, we do not exceed more than 5% of the portfolio, just to make sure the portfolio is diversified in the risk exposure, and then reduce the risk, making the portfolio more safe. So our reason for that is to apply combined credit exposure for a single issuer in in bankers' acceptance of commercial paper, negotiable CDs, and corporate notes. These are the asset class we're addressing. And this will enhance the diversification of portfolio or lower potential loss and then align with the city's investment policy objectives. So with that, we are asking the committee members to approve the city's investment policy as amended, and then refer the policy as well the appropriate resolution to the full city council for consideration on March 21st. That's all. Thank you.
Great. Councilmember Torres?
No, just move approval.
Okay, is there a second? Thank you, Councilmember Batra. I guess I could second it too, so, yeah. Any questions? Great. The only thing I was wondering, has there ever been a problem with that? I mean, I agree with the motion and everything, but I was just wondering if there had been a problem.
As far as I know, there has been no problem, but you know, if the city's policy says 10%, as it is right now without any amendment, we can go up to 10%, even though that professional or personal, I think that is that raises red flag. I would make sure the policy is in a more acceptable benchmark. So, you know, in practice, we'll probably be even more conservative and more cautious.
Okay. Before we go to the vote, is there any public comment?
No, there are no.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the vote then. Excellent. I didn't see it on the screen, so it's unanimous? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to item number 4.
Okay. The next item we have are proposed amendments to Title IV of the Municipal Code, which has to do with the procurement of goods and services. This was part of the procurement improvement study that was done and presented to the City Council last spring. And so this is one of the action items that we were directed to bring forward. So Luz is going to, when the staff report has a number, it almost reads as a research report, and we did that intentionally because we know a number of the members of the committee and the city council were not here when we were going through that process. So we wanted to know we wanted to direct you where you could resource that information if you wanted to get more information. So it's primarily there as a guidehouse for you, which was the consultant that actually provided the consulting report for that. So with that, I'll turn it over to Luz, and she'll kind of walk through the recommendations we're proposing.
All right, so the city procurement model is currently decentralized. We have 3 arms. We have the Public Works arms that does public works procurements for projects that are for construction, improvement, or demolition of structures. The city departments themselves do their own procurements for consulting services, and the finance department does all others, including managing the P-card program. So we have had some challenges with our procurements across the city, and so we launched a procurement improvement and readiness program. That was launched in February 2019. In February 2020, we engaged with Guidehouse to perform this citywide procurement improvement study. March 17, 2020, everybody went home and the study was on hold. And we restarted that procurement improvement study October 2021. On March 2021, the procurement initiatives was added to the city roadmap. And on May 10th, 2022, we published the procurement current state assessment report and the procurement future state vision report. And if you look at footnote number 3, I believe there's a supplemental memorandum that takes you to that report. It's 195 or 96 pages. It's a lot, but it is a great deal of detail. What it does provide you is a good way to look at what our current procurement state is and then what it can be. And I particularly direct you to pages, I think it's 48, 49, that tell us, that summarize in a workflow concept exactly how we currently procure. So when we went through this study, we discovered a number of key themes. We interviewed over 76 people in the city. It was a citywide effort. We had contributions from almost every single department, and we had a lot of focus groups, and it came down to key themes of people, process, technology, policies, and backlog. And this fishbone diagram gives you a little bit more detail on the issues that we discovered in each of those particular areas. I think a number of them was a risk of purchasing staff burnout, a lack of KPI training, disparate processes, once again, because we have that decentralized model, and also as far as customer education and training was also key. But we also, on the other hand, we saw some procurement opportunities. And so what came out of that, the second report, is the Procurement Future State Vision Report, and we identified some key recommendations in some key areas of staffing, procurement consistency, procurement streamlining, training, and technology. So what have we done so far? So this little table tells you what we've done so far. We first set up a procurement prioritization board that was formed in September 2019. At that point, it was the assistant city manager, the budget officer for the city, and the director of finance. They sat as a board and a panel to review all RFPs that came to the finance purchasing team, evaluated them for importance to the city, and prioritized them. Also, since then, we reorganized the finance purchasing team into more effective work teams and groups, and we also enhanced cross-training. We added some staffing in each of the 3 subsequent fiscal years, and then last year we got some additional monies for ongoing some personal equipment and for technology enhancements. So what is being considered for you today? We're talking about procurement thresholds, competitive procurement threshold, that is where city purchases with annual spend above $10,000, they must be competed, and the informal threshold, where city purchases over $140,000 require a formal procedure and process. The other thing that we're looking at today is the ability to leverage other public entity procurements. So this is the set of our current city modes that were, San Jose municipal codes that we're looking at vis-a-vis our discussion today. And there's a series of them. I'm not going to read through them for you because of time, but essentially these are the segments of the Muni Code that we are evaluating and thinking about recommendations for change. So the first one is our competitive procurement threshold. We did a benchmarking against our peer municipalities, and these are the reasons why we consider them our peers. They were either similar in population, they either had a large technology sector as we do, being in Silicon Valley, that they were in California with much of the very many same regulations and guidelines and guardrails that are established by the state. And then also our city staff had recommended that we look at these. So it is folks, essentially it's about size and population, similar technologies, it's in California, or the recommendations. So this is a fairly disparate group, but it's good. So we looked at the procurement threshold, and this is the one to remind you that anything over $10,000 we have to compete. Anything under $10,000 just requires a single quote. You call somebody, you go to quote, you can do that procurement. You can put it on a P card. So we looked at what the differences would be if we, looking back at our last 2 fiscal years, we looked at F19 to F90, 2019 to 2020, fiscal year 2020 to 2021, and we looked at all those procurements, and we said, if we change that competitive threshold, what would we be able to move from having to compete to not having to compete? And if you look at the table, if we increased it from that competitive procurement threshold from 10,000 to 12,000, we would have been able to reduce it by 127 procurements. And so about 4.7%. If you jumped it, and by the way, that's the recommendation that came out of the vision report. If you jump from 15 to 20 to 25 to 30, rest of those changes are fairly nominal in size. So the first big hit is at from 10,000 to 12,000. We also went back to our peer municipalities and benchmarked against the competitive threshold, against what's called the informal bid threshold, and also what the chief executive officer in each of those jurisdictions allowed. And to be honest with you, we did a lot of examination of the competitive threshold because that has seemed to have been a particular pain point, and the city is actually aligned with its peers. The informal threshold, which is that 140,000 that I referred to, we were also fairly aligned with our peers except for San Francisco, and those were in particular conditions. It's important to note that the competitive threshold is equal to the federal micro purchase threshold, and the informal bid threshold is equal to the federal simplified acquisition threshold. So those two things are equivalent, and that's important to note. So what is the recommended change on the competitive threshold? So our recommended change is to maintain the competitive procurement threshold at $10,000, but to remain aligned with whatever the feds make changes. As the feds make changes to that number in the future, we want to stay in step with them. And the reason we want to stay in step with them and not make changes is when you have procurements that are that close in number, we are very concerned that as we do additional work to get other people's money, sort of federal and state pass-through, which is generally has a lot of federal requirements. For example, if we take federal grant monies, we can't use our local and small business preferences. We won't be able to fund any sort of work that we do with that. And we really are concerned about the fact that we really need to have the ability to use other people's money. And so that's why we want to keep it at 10,000, but aligned with the federal uniform guidance. And we also want to keep the P-card services threshold at $1,000 to control and mitigate risk. On the informal procurement threshold, I'm going to remind you that was the one at $140,000. We want to increase that once again to match the federal uniform guidance and to stay with that in the future. Now the second point, leveraging other public entity procurements. This is actually just a little bit of a language change more than anything else. Right now, the Muni Code specifically calls out documents that if we try to, and you'll hear this language a lot, piggyback on another public entity's procurements, the city of San Jose has to be what's called a third-party beneficiary. It either has to be named specifically in the procurement process or categorically. That's an important difference because most other public entities simply require the executed contract to enable other public entities to essentially piggyback on that contract. It seems small, but it is very significant for us because in general the practice is the other public entities will put that piggyback language in their contract, not necessarily in their competitive procurement documents. That recommended change is once again to modify the Muni Code to allow city procurements to leverage other public entities' procurement processes, which substantially comply with city procurement procedure by simply requiring the executed contract resulting from the procurement to include language allowing other entities to use said contract. It's important to say that these procurements will still have to comply with city policies, procedures, and procurement our own. So it has to be competitive. It has to be competitive. It has to be well priced. It has to be beneficial to the city to participate in these other public entity procurements. This table reflects, if you go back to the original, there was a couple of pages ago, there was what the current code is. This now demonstrates what our recommendations are. So we have the current and now we have the proposed. And so we are making some changes. And so I'll let you look at that for a little bit and then I'll move on once again in the interest of time. And then this is our recommendation to accept the status report on amendments to Title IV of the San Jose Municipal Code, Chapter 4.04, Contract Authority, Chapter 4.12, Procurements of Goods and Services to help streamline the city's procurement process for goods and services, and refer and cross-reference the status report on amendments to Title IV of the San Jose Municipal Code, Chapter 4.04, Contract Authority, and Chapter 4.12, Procurements of Goods and Services to help streamline the city's procurement process for goods and services to the March 21st, 2023 City Council meeting for acceptance of the report. We are open for questions at your pleasure, and I turn it back over to Julia.
Thank you, Luz.
Thank you so much. Before we go to questions, we're going to go to the public comment.
There are no hands up.
Thank you. Councilmember Torres.
Yes. I definitely do have some questions on this. Okay. So we've been at the $10,000 threshold for P cards since 2005.
It's not the $10,000 threshold for P cards. It's the competitive threshold for 10,000 for about since probably around 2005. And generally, it's because the feds haven't changed it.
Oh, okay. So, I'm just a bit confused then. But that threshold is for P cards. For example, I was District 5 Community Relations Director, and I had a P card, and my threshold, I believe, was $10,000.
It was probably your monthly limit on how much you could charge on the P, that you could put on the P card on a monthly basis. There are only certain items you can actually put on a P card. So you can't put contractual services, for example, on a P card. And you can't put software on a P card. So unless it's under $1,000, right?
Yeah, this is for competitive bidding.
Yeah.
Oh, this is for competitive bidding. Okay. That's where I was a little bit confused.
Yeah.
All right. So, no, then I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Batra.
Okay. Thank you very much for looking into this process and trying to bring it. Do I see the summary of your recommendation is really to stay consistent with the federal guidelines for both the competitive 10,000 and 140,000? You made it to 250 because of the federal guidelines, right?
You do. And that's to simplify the process, not just for staff. We have found, especially during COVID-19, we are currently under a number of desk reviews. I'll be careful with the language. Desk reviews with the OIGs, and they have been particularly persnickety about purchasing. It's really, in general, when you have desk reviews and desk audits from the feds, they look at procurement very closely. So we want to make sure that folks understand that it gets to a certain limit, this is the way they need to procure. And once again, if we want to be able to use other people's money, federal or state pass-through, we want that money to remain available to us, so we want to follow the rules.
Right, okay. So that alignment helps you use the money. Okay, now, that's all great. Have you seen any kind of a survey or anything with the satisfaction with the other departments who are trying to do the buying, and how satisfied are they with the process we have?
With the overall process of procurement, this is exactly why we went into this procurement improvement study. Okay. And so we are slowly working our ways through the recommendations. Some of it was, frankly, we weren't staffed appropriately to meet the demand. Now that we are getting closer to those numbers, we're starting to look at some of our processes and procedures. And yeah, there was a level of dissatisfaction. We'll grant you that, but we're working to make it better.
Yeah. So when you refine your processes, please keep that in mind, and you already know that is the one area you want to increase satisfaction. And so thank you very much for paying attention to that.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So going back, because it has been a couple years since I've been here. So I want to go back as my role as District 5 for Community Relations Director for Councilmember Carrasco. And we served a district where we needed to hold community events because it was mostly monolingual, under-resourced, and we had to do events and community building events to bring in our community, right? And so going away from the P card, and I apologize for that. When we did have some of these events, we had to how can I put this in a better terms? We were kind of constrained on working with our small businesses in our area, because when we would go to our city clerk with these issues, it's because of that $10,000 is what I'm trying to say. $10,000 in 2005 terms might have worked then. It definitely doesn't work now, because one, since we're as you may know, we have the worst inflation we've ever had in a generation. The cost of anything has become more expensive, right? And so for districts like District 3 and District 5 and District 7 that have to have these community building events, it does tie their hands in providing the best service to our constituents, especially those that are monolingual, those that are under-resourced. And of course, this is all a learning process as well, right? Even though I was here for 6 years, I totally forgot the difference between a P card and and the procurement process, right? And so it ties our hands when we have to serve under-resourced communities. And I see in San Diego it's $25,000, right? Here it's $10,000. But what I'm trying to say is when we hold these community building events, we go to our local businesses that are in these council districts to provide their services or their business, but our hands are tied. So I understand that the recommendation is $10,000. I would like to see that increase, maybe to the $25,000 that San Diego currently has. I don't know if you can speak a little bit about that.
Before staff responds, I just want to clarify the issue. The issue before us is procurement in the area of actually going to bids. In terms of increasing, decreasing P card or whatever the threshold is on other things is really a little bit different. I don't know.
No, I get that, Vice Mayor. Okay. What I'm talking about is when as a council member, when you hold an event, there are items that are going to be over $10,000. So we know we can't use our P card. Everything's coming back to me. We know you can't use our P card. So for example, in District 5, when we would do a Christmas, well, it was called a winter tree giveaway. A tree giveaway, we would have to go to, right, Tony? We would have to go to a bid because it's obviously Christmas. Buying 150 Christmas trees are not $1,000, and so we would try to get that from our small businesses, right? Yeah. Like our swag is from small businesses, but sometimes that's over $10,000 when you want to buy your bags, your reusable bags, your chapsticks, your pens, your lanyards, etc.
I think we want to hear from the...
Yeah, and I know Lee wants to talk.
Yeah, just two things. I would agree with the Vice Mayor. I think the increase on P cards is probably a separate item that we would need to bring forward, or you could bring forward the rules and we would discuss. I would say, obviously, as council offices have started to do way more community building events out in districts, especially in neighborhoods that really need them. One of the things that we started to do right before COVID, was more master services RFPs, so that council offices would have the flexibility to work with the clerk and go out and, instead of procuring services all the time for those individual things, there was a master list of consultants or companies that would do this. So I would think and would ask maybe Tony and the finance department, maybe we can do a little bit more proactive meeting with some of the districts to better ascertain what your needs are going to be in District 3 or any of the other council offices, so that we have a better idea and can go out and procure those services ahead of time so that it doesn't hold you up. Because I know with movie nights, and there were a few others, especially like District 7, that just got held up because we didn't do that ahead of time. But those are certainly something that we could do and would help cut red tape for you guys to do these type of events.
No, great. Okay.
If I may, if I could add on to what Lisa says. So yesterday I was with the Office of Economic Development and Cultural Affairs, who was talking to a number of community-based organizations, and they're putting out an RFP similar to that. So it's a master agreement, and those folks are intended to help with the localized, very localized outreach. And so those are going forward as well. And so we are thinking about how do we reach the community, how can we assist the districts to reach the community much more comprehensively, and have things in place so you don't get stuck in waiting, because time is of the essence. Yeah, this did come up during the procurement, and we are very aware.
Okay. Thank you. Move to approve.
Thank you, Councilmember Batra, for your second. Let's vote.
For the record, again, just to confirm, this is also being cross-referenced, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Can you guys verbally vote, because it shows, my screen is blank. So just,
Batra?
Yes.
Torres?
it says, I hit, what was that? I'm sorry.
We're voting.
Start voting.
I think our system's not working, so we'll just do
Verbal.
a verbal vote. So Batra's yes. Torres?
Status response time.
Tomei?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Okay, we're getting there. Item number 5, recruitment, hiring, and retention strategy status report.
Response timeout. Maybe I shouldn't hit start proposal right away. But our item, here, let me do it again.
And thank you so much for all your work. I did want to say we appreciate it, Luz, and I just wish you all the best.
So I'm going to go to the next item.
Good afternoon, Jennifer Shembry. I'm the Director of Employee Relations and Human Resources. With me here today, I have Kelly Parmley, the Assistant Director of Human Resources, and Lynn Lee, who is our Employment Division Manager. And we are here to do a presentation to you on recruitment, hiring, and retention strategies. This is going to be a quarterly report to the PISFIS committee, and this is our first report here. It is important to note that our challenges that are being experienced by all public agencies in the Bay Area and across the nation is not just a recruitment issue. We can't affect our vacancy rate without talking also about pipeline and retention activities as an important part of our vacancy rate. So we will be reporting to you today on all 3 of those topics. There's a lot of information in our memo, so we are going to briefly summarize it, but if you've read the memo and you have any other questions, we're also happy to do briefings outside of this.
And then it's to set vote status response timeout.
So many years ago, actually not that many, but when I became HR director about 5 years ago, we started kind of on a Powered by People initiative. And this is our chart here that shows the objectives of Powered by People. The one we are going to be focusing on today is the one that is in the red box, which is recruiting and retaining a high-performing workforce. And that is to recruit a workforce committed to serving and meeting the needs of the community while fostering a culture that engages employee passions, skills, and aspirations.
No.
So our agenda today, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about vacancy rate and modernizing hiring. We've done a lot of work in hiring modernization, and we are working on even more things to modernize our hiring. We are ever evolving, very flexible and open to changing our process. So as things come up, we're changing them immediately. We're also going to talk today about building awareness and attracting new talent into the organization. And that includes our pipeline work and then also retaining our talent.
Because I don't like to do that.
So first, focus on vacancy rate and hiring. You will hear us say today probably a couple of different times that we are not alone in this issue. This is an issue that's being experienced by public agencies up in the Bay Area, California, and across the nation. This is some data that's provided by NeoGov, which is a company that provides human resources management solutions. They are also the company, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the presentation, that we are going to use to replace our application system, a project I'm very excited about. What this shows here is that the number of open jobs are up by 45% in the last year in the public sector, and at the same time, the number of applicants per open jobs has decreased by 56% in the last year for the public sector. So again, not alone in this issue. This is something that people are experiencing, but this is also why the pipeline work that we're doing and that Kelly will talk about a little later in the presentation is so important. So we'll start really basically, but what is a vacancy rate? Thought it would be important to explain how we calculate our vacancy rate. So our vacancy rate is our month-end vacant budgeted positions. So it is based on our budgeted positions, and we'll talk a little bit about the other work that we do, because we do a lot of hiring that is not just budgeted positions. That is divided by fiscal year budgeted FTE positions, so our full-time equivalent positions, and then multiplied by 100%. So that gets you our vacancy rate. So as an example, if we end a month with 500 vacant positions and we have 50 budgeted FTEs, that gets us an approximate vacancy rate of 9.52. We will be discussing, and we are discussing, the city's vacancy rate as the best overall measure of our success at both hiring qualified external candidates and also retaining our current employees. And because we are looking at just our budgeted FTE positions, what this doesn't take into account is our many unbenefited positions that we also are doing a lot of work in filling. So looking at what our vacancy rate has been over time, the chart on the left here shows what it has been since 17-18. So we have been in the 11 to 13% range throughout those years. And then the chart on the right shows where we've been from 22-23, fiscal year 22-23. So at the very end of fiscal year 21-22, our vacancy rate was 11.7%. In that budget, so in the budget of fiscal year 22-23, we added 200 positions. So that automatically increases our vacancy rate by quite a bit. And you'll see that here, it jumped to 14.5 because we added those 200 positions. We've been in the 14% range since then. We did get down to 13.7 in November, and it did increase again in December. That's not unexpected. In December, January, February, in December there's a decrease in hiring because of the holidays, and start dates are usually pushed out till January. But here at the city, because of the way our retirement system works, we do see a lot of retirements at the end of the year, January. So some other important context to our vacancy rate. As I mentioned, we have been adding positions in the city, which is great and absolutely needed for services, but it is very hard to lower our vacancy rate when you add additional positions. So since fiscal year 17-18, an additional 387 positions have been added, 200 in the last fiscal year alone. It is also important to note that just because a position is vacant, that does not mean that the work isn't getting done. Many of our vacant positions are being filled through higher class opportunities, temporary unclassified employees and consultants, and also rehired retirees. So we do have a way to backfill that work in some situations. And this also does not include critical hiring outside of benefited budgeted positions. So as I mentioned, when we're talking about vacancy rate, we're looking at only budgeted positions. But in fiscal year 21-22 alone, that was 359 positions that took a significant amount of work from the HR staff as well as the departments to fill that's not reflected in that vacancy rate. Another one of our major challenges that we talked a little bit about in this memo is that a lot of our positions are being filled internally, which is great from a professional development perspective and from a retention perspective. But every time we fill a position with an internal candidate, it just leaves another vacancy. So it has no impact whatsoever on our vacancy rate. So as an example, in fiscal year 21-22, of the 1,041 positions we filled, 660 were internal. That just left another 660 vacancies that needed to be filled. And even though we filled 660 positions, that had zero impact on our vacancy rate. All other public sector agencies are experiencing the same issue. And in looking at Bay Area agencies throughout California and nationwide, many, and in most cases actually, have higher vacancy rate than the city's vacancy rate. So throughout the years, we have done a lot of process improvements to our hiring process, and we've gone through different strategies to see where we can improve our hiring process. Prior to May of 2022, we implemented 13 significant hiring process changes. That was to streamline the hiring process and shorten the hiring timeframe. If you look at our hiring timeframe from the day that a job is posted to a day it is filled, our time to hire on average is less than the average in the public sector, shorter than the public sector average. We've made other changes since May of 2022. I'm going to go over a few of these that we'd like to highlight in the next slides. But for example, we're doing goal setting now through an agile process. We've given complete salary authority to departments so that there is no delay in getting human resources to approve salary. We've extended our hiring incentive referral bonus program. We've done lateral incentive programs for sworn police and fire. We are piloting a decentralization hiring model in DOT. We're about to pilot a centralized hiring model, which I'll talk about in more detail. We have hired a consultant to review the police and fire hiring processes to find where we can streamline those and shorten the time frame because they are quite extensive. And when you have an extensive hiring process, you lose candidates in that process. We did a citywide analyst recruitment. We've made many modifications to minimum qualifications and job specifications to broaden our applicant pool. And we are implementing, as I mentioned, I'm very excited about this project, a new hiring application system, NeoGov. So one that we wanted to highlight was we are now doing a quarterly goal setting using the agile process. So this is the first time that we're aware of where we've set hiring goals for departments. And departments are a very critical part of this process in setting these goals. And you could see here in this chart, we started it in Q3 of fiscal year 21-22. That was our first kickoff, so it was a little bumpy that first quarter there, and we did not meet the minimum goal. But since then, we've been meeting at least our minimum goal, and in some cases, we've gotten very close to our maximum goal. And this is a way for us to set goals and see if we're able to meet them, and then what are the challenges and why we're not able to meet them. As part of this process, the HR employment team meets weekly to go over recruitments and identify challenges and where things may be stuck. Myself and Kelly and Lynn participate in almost all of these sessions, so we can see through an agile board where we may where recruitments may be stuck, whether it's reference checks, whether it's in first round interviews, and then through that process, we've been able to make changes to our hiring process where we see that things are getting stuck. So for example, we had noticed that we were having recruitment stuck in the reference checks for quite a few weeks, 2-3 weeks. And so the question came up, do we need to do reference checks? So through that process, we were able to give departments flexibility that if they don't want to do reference checks, they don't have to, that can be, that does no longer required as part of the process. So this is a very good process, again, to identify where we may be having challenges throughout the various steps of the hiring process and make changes as we go. And then another one that we wanted to highlight was piloting centralizing the hiring function. Right now, hiring is hybrid between HR and the departments. So departments have recruiters within their department. Some they're handling some recruitments, HR is handling some recruitment. So it's very a hybrid function. And we've gone over the years back and forth between centralization and decentralization. And I do get asked quite a bit, what do you think about centralization? What do you think about decentralization? So we are piloting, as I mentioned previously, a completely decentralized function with our Department of Transportation, where we've given them full authority. They're completely handling their hiring. And so far it's going well. We'll evaluate it in June of 2023. And then this is piloting centralizing. So it's a pilot program. We've added 5 positions to human resources, a program manager, 3 analysts, and a staff specialist. We are going to be piloting centralization, where we are going to completely take on all of the hiring in these departments and divisions, and that's Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services, Housing, and then Code Enforcement, which is a division of PBCE. It will be an 18-month pilot program, and we'll report here on results during PISVIS updates. We have those positions posted and are in the process of filling them. As soon as they're filled, we will kick this off. And our goal is to reduce the vacancy rates in these departments, which do have some of the highest vacancy rates in the city, and then also analyze how the HR department can streamline, add support, and with direct reporting into employment, reduce vacancies in these 3 areas. And my favorite, although this is being completely led by Kelly, so she probably is better to talk about this, but modernizing, part of our hiring modernization is to bring in a new application system. So we have heard many concerns in my time as HR director about our hiring application system being confusing, people not being able to find something, not being able to apply for things online. It's a very, very complicated system. And then from the HR perspective, we're not able to pull the data out of it that we think we need to be able to make decisions and analyze how we're doing as far as hiring. So we are implementing this new hiring application system. We kicked off the project February 8th. July 1 is our target date, which I know is pretty soon here, but absolutely full faith in the team that we'll be able to get that done. And yeah, our goals here, again, to modernize the hiring process, have some more internal efficiency and effectiveness, and then being able to get better data out of the system. And last here on modernizing, I believe, is looking at minimum qualifications and job specifications. So we definitely know that, part of some of the issues with recruiting and not having a big applicant pool may be our minimum qualifications. Maybe we're asking for a degree, we don't necessarily need to have a degree, but also addressing situations where a credential or experience is a barrier to a diverse applicant pool has been our strategy for 2 years, and this is an important part of it. We did create a new division in the employment division. It's called our class comp division. We have 3 positions in that, 1 newly added, and since April of 2022, we've made 30 changes. Some of those are code enforcement inspector, airport operations series, environmental services specialist, arson investigator, instrument control technician. Sometimes it's creating all new classifications. So the early childhood education series is a brand new classification that we created. And then also librarian. And then I'm going to start with the pipeline and marketing, and then I'm going to turn it over to Kelly. We also, so again, as I mentioned, pipeline and marketing is a very important part of this, get more applicants and people interested in working for the city of San Jose. So we are working with the city manager's office of communications on a new hiring campaign. You could see here the different strategies that are part of it. Won't go over all of them, but we're going to do, radio station advertising. We're doing a lot of LinkedIn advertising, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter advertising. We're going to do some internal communications, and then we've created some templates. So we'll do some branding and created templates for social media, organic posts, flyers, banners, and collateral material. And you could see here on the right some of those branding templates. We have kind of general ones for the city. We are hiring is our brand there, and then we have one specific to the department. So if you look at the box below, there's one that's city branding for citywide classifications. We have one for the housing department. We have one for PRNS. So this is also something I'm very excited about, and we're looking to do this with our classifications where we're having the hardest time recruiting. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kelly.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good afternoon, council members. Kelly Parmley, Assistant Director for Human Resources. And just to offer and lend some support to how important the coordination of the marketing effort is. We had a meeting yesterday that I was sharing with Jennifer with about 80 people from across our departments who are somehow involved in a human resource function, and we're actually very, very thrilled that the support from CMO Communications to help us streamline and look like a similar brand in terms of how we present ourselves in social media and other places, so really grateful for that. As we modernize the hiring system itself, and it's not just the technology, but the way in which we approach the process, equally important is to build what we call pipelines to the work here at the city. I will have almost 6 years with the city in May, and came to the city from public higher education. So most of my work was there, and led a cradle to career pipeline effort in Virginia. And so we early on, when Jennifer and I came together with the department, it became clear pre-COVID we started some of this work to how do we build awareness and attract the next generation to public service. When we talked to a group of students, marketing students, actually the first day Jennifer joined us, we got to see presentations from marketing students over at SJSU. In that class, when I asked them the first day that I was there, I said, how many of you have considered a career with the city of San Jose? And out of 25 students, not one hand went up, right? And these are students who are right across the street. So a lot of the work here, and here's a couple of highlights here, is to think about the pipeline not just as K-12 and higher education and how we build partnerships, which, by the way, take a long time and you have to sustain them over time for the awareness part of it, but also other opportunities that you won't see here but are mentioned in the memo, like how do we bring in fellows to the city at different points in their career path at different levels in the organization. So we did a great event with the Veterans Resource Center. That was our first one with San Jose State, and really engaged group of folks there. We are doing things like the boot camp, which is to teach folks about how to interview with the city or how to fill out an application. Government applications are different, right? As is the interview process. And so teaching them and bringing them awareness as opposed to just saying here are jobs that are open at the city in a career fair situation is really important. In terms of going beyond that, I'll just offer two really exciting opportunities here that I think have taken a lot of coordination and excitement on the part of a whole lot of folks. But in the memo, you'll see that we recently, with several leaders from the city manager's office and others, went to Silicon Valley Career and Technical Ed and went down and met folks there. I think there's more than there's 6 or more departments right now, I think it was like 8 maybe, that are actually going to participate, our departments, with folks who are doing the work and talking to students and talking to them about the work that we do here at the city. That's on February 17th. So we're really excited about doing that most immediately with Silicon Valley. The big one, which we hope lots of folks here will come and participate in, and you know, all of the departments are going to participate. We've just been talking to them about this, but San Jose State and the city are partnering on Explore Careers at the City of San Jose Day, where we're actually going to inspire students to walk across the street and come see us, right? Get on the campus over here is as important as us going over there. So really excited for that from 12 to 3 on April 6th. So moving on from modernizing and pipeline to retention. The other part of the equation in terms of vacancies is when we lose people here at the city, right? And many of you are probably familiar with all of the literature and work around the Great Resignation that we heard about and experienced not just here in the city, but in the private sector and in other agencies around us. This Great Resignation is happening. The important part, I think, for us is that as a human resource function, we can help lead. We can help provide some data. We can provide insight into effective strategies. We can do some programming ourselves, but it requires everyone from across the city to help us with retention. So I'll offer to you one opportunity here to frame this just a little bit in terms of the things we're thinking about. This takes a little bit of time to focus on because we're talking about new folks coming to the city, folks that have been here for some time. How do we create a culture that is about retaining our employees? I'll just offer a couple of statistics to you that we recently put out there, which is about 52% of our full-time employees are Gen X or Gen Z. Or Gen Y or Gen Z. I'm Gen X. Gen Y or Gen Z, 52%, right? So full-time employees. That's a relatively young generation, right? And 44% are 5 years or less with the city. So I just offer that by way of saying these things are what are important for us to think about. And many of them we've already started working on or are in the works, and that is flexibility. We had a flexibility policy before COVID. We certainly have really experimented with and maintain our commitment to that. It's really important to folks coming to the city to stay, want that flexibility. Folks are wanting work that works for them, and what that means is that we somehow create a balance between home and life, but also have opportunities to belong and to create a culture of respect and inclusion. There's a lot of work going on here. You'll see in a minute some of the compensation work that we've done. Compensation is clearly important to folks, and there's a call to public sector to make sure they're staying competitive. We may not always be with the private sector, but we need to pay attention to it, and we have. That we create are open to an entrepreneurial spirit. The next generation wants to try new things, do new things, do different projects. Have professional development. Upskilling is really important to the next generation of folks coming here. Focus on well-being. You'll probably have seen a lot of our wellness work going on. We've got a lot of challenges, physical challenges where people get together in teams, but also some of our trauma-informed work and others. And then the thing I think we really have going for us here is people in this Great Resignation are rethinking why they're doing what they're doing from a work perspective, right? And so how do I have something that has meaning and purpose? And certainly government offers that to lots of folks. So how do we accelerate that by way of marketing? A few things in terms of strategies. I'll just name a couple of these, but they fit right into the framework that Deloitte offers up in terms of how we think about retaining employees for anywhere, but certainly within government. There's been a lot of opportunities around the general wage increase, but also specific salary adjustments. Jennifer could certainly speak to more of that. It's been her work primarily with the departments. Again, I mentioned the flexible workplace policy. We have a mentor program that hit 300 this year. We had rotated that prior, a couple of years ago. I'd been rotated around departments. We brought it into HR and have been running it for 2 years now. Last year, even, we had about 200 people. We've gotten that up to about 300. It's a great opportunity for people to connect, which is really important for retention. We've made some changes to new employee welcome to the good, employee experience conversations I'll mention in a minute. We have 2 real signature programs that are helpful around this entrepreneurial spirit in terms of teaching folks about human-centered design. And right now, we actually have another cohort of folks in the Innovation Academy with Brian Elms, who started the Peak Academy in Denver, teaching folks at your desk, how do I make improvements without changes to technology or additional investment of resources? Process improvement is really important, and empowering folks to do that at their desk is a creative opportunity. We've really, really upped our game when it came to trauma-informed and resilience-oriented culture building. I'm sure you've heard some of that. We're pursuing that for a strategy going forward, but also the benefits team has really upped their game with wellness programs and offerings. There's a lot of workshops and opportunities for folks to maintain their wellness. And the big thing, and we had a great presentation yesterday on this with about 80 folks from across the city on our new employee assistance program. Really proud of this one. Concern is the new vendor. They've got a lot of different opportunities for folks to be able to take care of themselves mentally and emotionally. I'll just offer in part because I think people forget that about 5 years ago, there was no learning and development team in the Human Resource Department. So Jennifer and I, along with support from the city manager's office and from a lot of folks across the city, have from 17-18, where there was myself, a management fellow and an intern, we now are, you fast forward to 22-23, and we have a team of about 9 folks who not only are doing a vendor-delivered strategy with respect to learning and development work, training in other words, but also pipeline, and then we've really invested in our ability to do some data work in there as well. And so really proud that we started this before COVID. We had to wind it down in March of 2020 for about 6 months, and then revamp it right back up in a different environment in terms of hybrid delivery. This is really important to folks in terms of retention, in terms of giving growth and professional opportunities to folks. We couldn't do it without this group. Just a couple of plugs for folks that we're working with are really high quality vendors I'll just offer. The Billions Institute is doing an executive leadership forum for us for the first time this spring. We're running our own mentorship program that was supported initially by the Center for Advancing Leadership and Human Potential. They are doing our employee experience conversations, which is incredibly important to retention. And then you can see some of our other vendors and our wellness opportunities as well. Employee experience conversations. Many folks have asked us about doing exit interviews. When we do exit interviews, it's too late, right? and it's data that we often may not be able to get enough of or be able to trust in terms of making meaningful change in an organization. We started out with the idea of stay interviews, and with this particular amazing consultant, the Center for Advancing Leadership and Human Potential, Hope and Danielle, we recrafted stay interviews into employee experience conversations with the explicit three-part goal, which is to increase employee trust and sense of belonging. Belonging and connection are incredibly important to retention. Ignite a shared purpose, recognize and appreciate employee contributions. This is a non-performance related conversation. How do I understand what brings you here, what is keeping you here, what gets you excited, how can I support you in your endeavors as an employee to do those things, and what things are getting in the way of you perhaps not wanting to stay. So we did that starting last spring with 100 exec staff. We tried it with some mid-level folks, and it's getting momentum. There are a lot of folks who are participating. It led to us creating the Executive Leadership Forum with the Billions Institute this spring. So it's really important to us in terms of retention. So I'll just turn it over to Jennifer to close it out.
Yes. So we are meeting with stakeholders, and this came up when we got the PISFIS recommendation last year. So we did meet with stakeholders with the city manager's office on January 27th. That include representatives from the unions to get their thoughts and ideas on recruitment and retention. We do have a next meeting scheduled with them for the end of February. Our goal for that meeting is to brainstorm in a workshop type setting, the hiring process, reviewing it step by step, identifying where we have made changes, and taking in any other suggestions that they may have, brainstorming other improvements. We will continue to provide quarterly updates to PISFIS, and then we will bring forward any additional resources needed for council consideration as part of the fiscal year 23-24 budget process in May. And with that, we're happy to answer any questions.
Wow, that was pretty good. Councilmember Torres. Oh, before we go to the council, are there any, I'm sorry. Public comment?
There are no hands up.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll go to Councilmember Torres.
All right. So, no, I definitely want to thank Jennifer and her team for this presentation. I think you all know that we're all concerned about our vacancies here in the city of San Jose, because obviously humans provide the service to our residents. And so I like how our human resources department is being aggressive. I wholeheartedly feel that you all are being aggressive. I think that is great. But of course, there's also the concern, right? And I definitely do feel that we need to just tighten up our partnerships with San Jose State and maybe the San Jose Conservation Corps, because I want folks to be able to slide into a job. I shouldn't say I, but folks on this committee and my colleagues, we definitely want to erase the vacancy rates that are high, right? When we break it down by department, right? Every department has their vacancy rate. We all know that some of them have higher ones than others, right? And I know we've already pinpointed those 3 departments. So I'm very glad that you spoke about our fire department having a high vacancy rate. But what's also concerning is that our city employees are leaving after 5 years, right? So I think we all know. I actually thought that young people didn't want to work for the city. So you're 52% of Gen X. Sorry, that's me and Lee. Gen Y and Z, that they make up 52% of our city workforce, Gen Y and Z. And so I always thought, see, when you read these reports, I always thought that those are the least amount of folks who don't want to work for our city, but they make up 52%, and that's good. So now we need to invest in them so they can invest in our city so they can stay longer, right? Because I have nephews and brothers and family members who are Gen Y and Z, right? And they only stick around for 4 or 5 years in a job, and we don't want that, right? We want to celebrate their 25-year retirement, their 30-year retirement, et cetera. right? So I think we definitely need to focus in on retention of our young workforce, right? Because this is a great place to work, right? I think you all know my story. I started off as a PRNS rec leader for San Jose Learns, and now I'm here on the dais, learning how amazing our city continues to be. And so we need to make sure that that we continue to do that, right? That we continue to retain our workforce, and we all know that's also a major problem in our San Jose Police Department, right? They stick around, and then they get our training, they learn all the stuff they need to learn out in the field, and then they go somewhere else. So, but thank you so much for being aggressive. Thank you so much for finding partnerships and whatever we can do on our end to have these folks slide into a job with the city of San Jose, especially in those critically needed departments. You know, this is why we're here. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember.
I think it's a very well thought out report, and you're covering a lot of areas of hiring, retention, and rewards, and training, and everything. I got a couple of comments. One, you mentioned that the vacancies do not reflect that the work isn't getting done. In the 3 weeks I've been here, every department which presented to us, they all said one thing: we are not able to deliver the service at the level which we need to. The reason is we don't have enough staff. So I think work is getting done, but not as much as we want to get it done, okay? So I would temper that statement a little bit, okay, that the work is getting done. The other one, you created new partnerships, and I want to suggest to you to look into 2 more. One would be that you stated not everybody needs a college degree, but I didn't see any partnerships with any of the community colleges in this area. So you may want to look into that source and tap that one. The other one would be is that some of the people who are retiring from our corporations here, Intel's, IBM's, and the others, you may want to link up with the HR departments of those people. And if their skills are right, they could be sold on the pitch of serving their city, not on the money we can pay them. And serving the city might be an attraction. And I don't want to take too much credit for myself. I was an Intel retiree, and I was sold on the idea of that I should be an Encore Fellow in city of San Jose. And so there may be some number of experienced people you want to pick up if you link up with the HR departments of these, and at least they can make a pitch, or they can allow you to make a pitch for explaining what opportunities are available in the city. And you may get some experienced people from there. And the last one is a question. Is the city allowed to have employees offshore? Like in the private corporations, a lot of them have IT type of people offshore. Not my favorite thing to do, but like for example, I'm thinking of the permitting department. They're talking about they can't find the people, they can't do the reviews. Permitting department is publicly not being appreciated very much. Is the city allowed to have offshore employees?
So that's a very good question. So if you're talking about an employee that is directly an employee of the city that we're paying out of our payroll system, no. And actually, we have challenges even having employees outside of California, even if they can work from home.
Okay.
There's tax issues, payroll tax issues with that. So we do have some restrictions in that area. That isn't to say that a contractor that we may contract with, I don't know, may have people outside of California or that sort of thing. But if they're directly employed by us, there are some challenges.
Okay, so you may want to discuss with the permitting department, especially because they're saying they can't review the plans and all that, and the plans are all electronic. So if they can have a contractor who is allowed to do it, As I said, not my favorite way of having employment. I'd rather have the employment given to the local people, local economy. But if we need to tide over for a while to catch up with some of the backlogs, that may be a way to get that done. Okay? All right. Thank you for all.
Thank you so much. You certainly have done a lot of work, and really, I like your agile system. So hopefully that will inform us on a lot of different fronts. One of the things that occurred to me as you were going through the presentation on the area of retention is sometimes work environments, especially when you're dealing with different demographic groups, can be different. And I know that as you start seeing, more and more retirements, I mean, we've known this for some times in terms of how the demographics in each of the groups are, that as the baby boomers retire, there aren't enough even replacements for some of the positions. So, I'd like to know a little bit more about, and maybe not for today, but, at some point, in terms of having strategies for replacing and training and really bringing other young people up to speed on some of this work that we have. Because when you look at how most previous employees who stayed for 10, 15, 20 years, that's not the model that most young people are looking at. They move around even every 3 years, and their expectations are different. I actually went to a presentation that shows each of the different demographic groups and how they envision their work environment and how they respond to whether or not they would save their PTO, use their PTO, plan their PTO, or say, okay, I'm taking it every time so that, I have a better work-life balance, right? So I also think that in the long run, that may be something that we have to pay attention to, because there are going to be a lot of retirements. And here we're not having enough people come in. Once those retirements happen, demographically, we don't even have the people trained in the specific areas to be able to take those jobs. And I know in city government, we've known this for a little bit, and yet, I just don't know what has been done about it, but I see that as something that, as the retirements go, there aren't enough in the pool to begin with,
Yes.
regardless of anything. So that's something that I've been looking at.
Yes, Vice Mayor, you're absolutely correct, and that's very true. And we're struggling with that. I would say in a variety of different classifications. A lot in our trades, though.
Right.
So one thing, and I'll just highlight one thing really quick that we're doing is an apprenticeship program with our electricians, so that we can do an apprenticeship program, train them ourselves. We're working with the local IBEW to do that. And so hopefully that helps give us a pool of electricians, because we are definitely struggling with our electricians. We're also doing that with park rangers. So apprenticeship programs, I think, is one way to do, I think, what you're suggesting.
Thank you. Councilmember Torres.
Move to approve item D5.
And that includes the, well, this was just the approval of the item. Okay.
No. Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Batra. Okay, there's a motion and a second. We'll vote. Excellent.
The vote was unanimous.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, we are now going, thank you so much for the information. Open forum.
Blair Beekman.
Hi, Blair Beekman here. A really interesting PISPIS meeting today, not the usual variety of law enforcement issues. It was more financial, and thank you. I wanted to remind yourselves with such a meeting today, and in being a new board, that we have been in a process of decision making the past few years with the current war in Ukraine that I think, as much as we don't want to admit it, has been really affecting our decision making here at the local level. There's a lot more talk of military use practices in law enforcement. There's just an overall sense of dourness and gloom that comes with war. And I just really wanted to remind the importance that there is a real structured idea of peace negotiation process for the region that we really have to want to be able to more openly describe, as much as this country doesn't want to. The ideas of a two-state solution have to be a part of the future of a negotiation process that many in this country don't want to have that conversation. And they're not, I don't think, living in reality at this point. I don't think Ukrainian freedom fighters are going to save the whole country of Ukraine. And I think we have to come to terms with that and really learn how to be, as I've tried to offer for months now, that it has to be a very open, negotiated process about the future of the area. And to not to do that is kind of living in a fantasy world that is basically perpetuating war. So we got to really consider that in this country and act responsibly. Peace.
Back to the committee.
Thank you. And if there's nothing else, we're adjourned. Thank you.